Good afternoon, friends. Stephen Ben-Nun here with Israeli News Live on our Patreon channel. And as we talk about here, we like to share with you guys things that I don't normally share on my regular program of Israeli News Live, mainly because there's so much criticism if you try to tell people what's really going on in the world. And we get into the issue of aliens, where they talk about aliens, fallen angels, etc., things like that. People just can't handle that. And I know that when we come here, you guys, you come here, you appreciate this information. I realize not everybody's going to believe these things. But when I look at this, I also look at this from a biblical side of this. I look at the fallen angel technology. I look at things that are written in our Bible, even things that are written in sources that are not biblical or not in the canon, but were considered part of the biblical narrative at one time. And it is clearly that the fallen angels don't always carry a human-like form. That's very important to note as well. Even angels of God don't always carry a human-like form. I mean, think about it. Biblically speaking, you get those ones that have four heads there. One's of a man, one's of an eagle, one is of a lion, things like that, right? So we shouldn't be alarmed by these things. But generally, when I have meetings and stuff that I have, information is disclosed. I share that with you. Rarely do we ever do anything in written format. But there was a recent meeting with the group in the autopsy department at the Pentagon about the Greys. And so I actually got that via email to be allowed to share with you guys. Now, the email is going to have some part that's going to be blacked out, but I do want to share some of this with you because in a meeting I was in on Friday, we were discussing this subject. This is kind of like a follow-up of that. And the sensitive things that were in this email I've already blacked out because there's just some information I cannot share publicly. But I want to share this with you here. It says, alien gray hierarchy. They're small 3.5 footers are called the worker bee biobots used by multiple races to perform various tasks. Now, multiple races is not human races. He's talking about alien races or fallen angels. Okay, the medium-sized greys are worker bee supervisors. It is not known at this point if there are larger-sized greys. The top-level hierarchy is held by the mantis. All right, when we're talking about the mantis here, let me show you what the mantis are. And keep in mind, and I have to make a disclosure on this because you get some people out there that think that you're putting up a photo of the actual things, and it's not the case. I'm trying to give you visual images. So these are not actual pictures of greys or mantis. It's to give you an idea of similarly what they look like. This is the closest I could find of what the mantis look like. They do have like more of like a human type of body, but their arms and stuff do like a praying mantis. That's why we have that name for them called the mantis. They are the hierarchy of the alien races, actually of pretty much of the entire alien species. But one thing you have to understand about the mantis, they have a queen. In fact, Harold had mentioned to me, he's the German scientist, that he's actually met with the queen before. And the queen, according to Harold, was about 25 foot tall. Yeah, believe it or not. I wanted to see because of working with an individual in the secret space program in our government, if they knew about the queen, etc. And it was told to me that yes, they are very much aware of the queen. And they said the queen is, as even Harold put it, she's very emotional. Whereas the mantis workers show no human emotion whatsoever. They're very just cold, so to speak, but very intelligent. The queen, though, from what I heard from people with the Pentagon that work on the secret space program, said that when she gets angry, because she is emotional, oddly enough about her, that she has been known to just bite the head off of the man that she's speaking to and devour it. No wonder why they call it a mantis. Not only do they kind of look like the praying mantis, but if any of you ever studied in school, if you remember the biology story about the praying mantis, after they mate with the male, the female bites the head off and kills the male. It's kind of weird, right? Anyway, let me go back to what I was reading to you so you can kind of get a little glimpse of this. So Greys have distributed nervous system akin to sharks. Unlike a human who has a core brain that controls everything, their nervous system consists of numerous higher level control centers. Example, one for sensory processing, one for analytic processing, one for memory, etc. This means the biological entity as a whole is harder to kill than a human. So I should say than, not that. The blood. Now we're talking about the blood of these Greys. Alien Greys do not have red blood as humans, although they do have a form of hemoglobin that is used to carry electrical signals higher level of control centers. It appears that alien Greys only need this form of hemoglobin while operating on Earth. Outside of the Earth, it is believed that a plasma-based blood system is used. The plasma-based system can't be used while on Earth as the energy discharges, or gets drained like a battery, in other words. The DNA, it appears that Greys are clones and have interconnectivity among themselves similar to human twins. Their food, it appears that Greys, again, structure is better suited to direct plasma exposure rather than absorbing plasma secondhand by consuming some other life from like we humans do. All right, so their language. They're limited to understanding is known about the native form of the Grey language. However, there appears to be a relationship to pictorial types of languages, such as Egyptian hieroglyphics. Now, we're going to be able to see this. Here we go. Certain languages, objects found on crafts, and other terrestrial elements are similar to objects associated for satanic ritual. And certain earth-dwelling creatures, such as bear man, have a traditional Christian mentality. This makes me think that they're extraterrestrials, and certain earth-dwelling creatures are fallen angels or the result of fallen angels, i.e. Nephilim. Now, that's something I want to repeat again. We'll go slowly about this. On the side note, certain language objects found on crafts, other extraterrestrial elements are similar to objects associated for satanic rituals, and certain earth-dwelling creatures, such as bear man, having a traditional Christian mentality. This makes me think that the extraterrestrials and certain earth-dwelling creatures are fallen angels or the result of fallen angels. Let me kind of explain this to you, because all these things I know at a far greater depth. The languages are because underneath Antarctica, there is a structure there that, and I believe Linda Moulton Howe has actually disclosed a lot of that information in her books that she writes on this subject. But there is a language that was discovered there that is similar to that of the Egyptian hieroglyphics, and also like that of oh gosh, why did I go blank on this? Not Atlantis, but in Mexico you have the, well, I'll come back to that in a minute. Anyway, it uses hieroglyphics down there as well. And we've not been able to decode that language as of yet. Even Steve Quayle has done a lot of work on that as well. The bear man is the very man I've been telling you about that is believed to be a Nephilim that is similar in size to that of a Sasquatch. They're generally about 9 foot tall. They look like a bear, look like a human, kind of like a mix of the two together. But instead of on their fingers having fingernails like a Sasquatch does, they actually have claws, normally about 6-inch claws. Much more, that's one reason why they also add that to not just a bear, but similar to more like a wolf type of creature as well. They have some characteristics of that. This is one reason why they believe that they may be part of the Nephilim or the fallen angels. They do have the ability to communicate. They have the ability to also move into the ether, so they're transdimensional. And of course, they dwell in the caves here on the earth. And this is what we've been dealing with in our own national parks, including that of Colorado and Yellowstone National Park. And they have also been known to use the pentagram. They get into a lot of satanic rituals that are going on. And by the way, this has a lot to do with the soul transference, where they're even, and I can't go into this on our channel here, but you already know what's going on around the world right now, where they're claiming this, the spread of this thing. All right, let me just say it that way. Here, I can't say those things, right? But as a result, I think I shared with you guys already they believe this to be a contract being made with Satan. If you've done 3 of those, the first one, the second one, they call it boosters and stuff, then you are at risk of signing a contract that moves your soul from the body and allows an archon to take its place. I'm really going to study this from a biblical aspect, because I have a feeling this is why we have some of the verbiage in our Bible about those demons that are bound at the river Euphrates. And they've been bound, and they're waiting for host bodies. So Satan has been busy making host bodies. And I'm going to go into that on our next video here, because I'm going to be talking about Dulce, New Mexico, and our secret base there. I've been directed to a declassified document that's very difficult to find that I can share with you that will tell you a little bit more about that. But I wanted to get into this, share this with you, because I thought it was fascinating. You get a little inside peek of what happens at a much higher level that is not being made known to the public. And I highly doubt that the public has really known this much about the Greys in the first place. But Greys are, as they call them, as he described it in here in one spot here, like they're worker bee biobots, right there at the very top line. And they serve other alien species. So it's one reason why they don't have a blood system. If you take the Nordics or the Venetians or the any of these groups here, they actually have anatomically very similar to us. They have hearts, they have lungs, they have blood in their body as well, just as we do. A lot of species of alien, even if they may look weird, have those things. And we say species of alien, remember, Satan has a lot of angels. And his angels, they don't all look like a bunch of humans either. I mean, think about it. Satan comes to Eve in the Garden of Eden as a snake. Actually, the snake was the body that he used, if you think about it, right? But Satan is also described as like a worm. Yeah. No wonder why he chose a snake to use to be able to come and speak to mankind. Anyway, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. I hope this is a blessing to you here on Patreon, to get a little inside look there, to see what's going on. And like I said, there's going to be coming disclosures by the White House before too long that we've been in contact with alien species, but they are going to choose either Nordics or Venetians or something like that, something more palatable, so that people don't freak out. And we say, like, for example, if you look at Nordics, right? Nordic aliens, see why. And there again, this is just to give you an example of, why they choose Nordics to begin with, is because they want something that looks human, so that you can think, oh, wow, aliens are so beautiful, or whatever the case may be. And again, this is just a picture. I have no clue if there's any validity of, let's say this lady was really that, or if it's just a painting or a drawing, have no clue. It's only for the purpose to give you an idea of what they would look like. I do know that Nordics are taller than the average human. The females run about 6 foot to 6.5 foot tall. Males, I think, are around 7 foot tall. Generally speaking, they take the younger Nordics that have not matured to adulthood. Those are the ones that are used more in a public setting, because you got to remember they live to be about 800 years old. So they're not full maturity. Even say 50 years old is not a full maturity, and they haven't gone to their full height as of yet. So that's another thing that they're able to do to blend into society when they're working with society. Anyway, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live here on Patreon. Thank you, and God bless you.